Breaking wild news. The budget speech was postponed this afternoon when it was supposed to be happening. The budget speech being postponed, has never happened in the over 30 years that South Africa has been a democracy. So, what happened? For the last week, we've been hearing rumors that the ANC's finance minister was planning to announce some tax increases to cover shortfalls in the government's budget, including a 1 to 2% increase on VAT, value added tax. Now, if you don't know, VAT is a tax on the consumption of goods, which essentially it's kind of like a sales tax. So if you are going to sell a product or a service, then you pay a VAT on it. But in general, the person selling the product or the service just adds the cost of VAT into the cost of sale, which means that the person buying the good or service really pays the tax, not the seller. It's estimated that a 1% increase on VAT would have added like 25 billion rands a year to the South African government's budget. But it also would have made everything way more expensive. It would have caused inflation in a moment where South Africans are seriously suffering a terrible cost of living crisis. And so many political parties and other organizations spoke out against a potential VAT increase. Crazily, the Democratic Alliance and COSATU, the trade union, were on the same side condemning any potential VAT increases. Do you know how insane that is to have the DA and COSATU preaching from the same team? And today, when the speech was supposed to be read out, instead an emergency meeting was called amongst all the Government of National Unity partners, and the president and the ANC tried to convince all of the GNU partners to vote for the budget to be passed, because they need a lot more votes than they have themselves, the ANC, to pass anything right now. They tried to convince all the other parties to support a budget that was going to have a 2% VAT increase amongst others. And the DA said no. And depending on who you ask, this is either a good thing or a bad thing, and it's either skullduggery from the ANC or skullduggery from the DA. So some people are saying it's a good thing because this is the Government of National Unity in action and showing the ANC they can't just do whatever they want. The DA has now said that they're not going to allow this kind of budget, and it's probably good for most South Africans' quality of life right now in terms of the cost of living. On the other hand, why did it get to a crisis like this in the last possible second when the speech was supposed to be read out? It screams disunity and disorganization and dysfunction, which will probably have a bad effect on the rand's value in the markets and the rest. And then as for who is the skullduggery, don't know if that's a word. Is it the Democratic Alliance for at the last moment saying they won't support the budget? Or is it the ANC for at the last moment trying to push the DA to support the budget when the DA consistently said that they would not support a budget that had this kind of VAT increase?